Unexpected life events such as a job loss, a house fire, high medical bills can happen at any time to any one of us. It is these unexpected, life-altering events that often leave entire families homeless. Safe Haven is the only program of its kind in Middle Tennessee that accepts the entire homeless family. And joining me now is the program's Executive Director, Joyce Lavery, along with Rachel Wilkins, who's the Director of Development for Safe Haven. Welcome, ladies.
Welcome. How are you?
Wonderful.
Thank you.
It's so glad to have you both here.
It's an honor to be here.
Well, thank you. And talking just recently with the Big Brother, Big Sister program, we're going to talk a little bit more about how you two may be working together in just a bit. But let's tell people, Joyce, who may not be familiar with Safe Haven, what your ultimate overall mission is.
Our overall mission is to take families who have experienced homelessness and help them become self-sufficient. And we define self-sufficiency as having permanent stable housing and a job to support that.
Absolutely. And I know you all, Rachel, work with these families on the areas that they may be a little weak. What has sent them there to you in the first place? Talk about how you help these folks try to have the tools, the skills necessary so that they can get off the streets.
We've been in the community for over 30, we're celebrating our 30th anniversary this year, which is incredible. And the vision the entire time has really been to provide that comprehensive education, counseling and support for families, not only to help them while they're in shelter, but to provide those long-term solutions so that they never find themselves in this situation again.
Absolutely.
And when families call us, typically we hear an eviction, a job loss. We've even had situations where a family has experienced a home fire, high medical bills, and more and more just in the recent years, families that have never thought that they would ever be in this situation are calling upon us. And so it's very difficult, when you see that influx of calls coming in. But what we really try to do to address that is key pieces such as what Joyce was talking about with workforce development, financial literacy, individual and group therapy for our parents and children, intensive case management that helps them not only while they're in shelter, but to really contributes to their success long term.
Yes, you guys do a great job of that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the children for just a bit, Joyce, because I know you've told me you've got families that have anywhere from 2 to 5 children.
Or 1 to 5.
1 to 5.
And we've had people who are expecting children. We've had larger families, and we've seen more large families, size families, and we try to prioritize them. They have nowhere to go. And we're very concerned about the welfare of that child.
Yes.
We know homeless children are 8 times more likely to fail in school, to get held behind, to have all kinds of social and academic difficulties that'll hold them back, not only in the short term, but in the long term. We know it's really a very bad trajectory for children who find themselves in unstable housing conditions. So we want to change that trajectory so there's stability in that family. And for the children, this year we've always had wonderful activities for our children, but this year we really wanted to be more strategic. And we have an education specialist that we hired, and this person, Judy, she has actually brought high-quality tutoring to the shelter 3 times a week to make sure that our children are on top of their schoolwork, they understand their schoolwork, they turn it in on time, they have that support inside and outside of school. And now we even have permission to go into the schools to provide some of that tutoring. We also started a book club for the children, a science club, a reading club, really trying to get our children in that after-school enrichment as well as keeping on top of their schoolwork. And we do try to engage the parents. We know the parents are going through a difficult time of trauma, but we also want to engage the child in their children's education as well. But our goal is to make sure those children not only just survive school, but thrive and maybe even do better than they would have before if they hadn't found us.
Yes.
Because we're giving them some of those tools, some of that encouragement, some of those relationships. We ask parents, we teach parents what to ask in the schools, and we also make children feel good about where they are and who they are. They have a lot of adults that are encouraging them, giving them attention. So we're very, very proud of that initiative, and we're seeing great results.
That's wonderful. I know you were just talking with Carlisle and Todd, even about Big
Yes.
Brothers. Will you all work it out so that maybe they can be a part of that program?
We'd love to. You know,
Yeah.
what we have found is when you're homeless, if you don't have a permanent address, there's a lot of high quality after school programs like Big Brothers Big Sisters that you can't participate in. But we love it once we get that family stable, that our children can connect with that program. And so we're going to have that conversation.
I hope so.
But we also have, you know, a great model in Big Brothers Big Sisters. We're starting, in fact, tonight is the first training, something called support circles. And this is another evidence-based model, came out of Raleigh, North Carolina, but it's a family mentoring program, and we're doing it in collaboration. I love collaborations. They're doing it with Open Table, great organization, and another great organization, Urban Housing Solutions, and we're providing the family and an individual too, but we're working with the family side of things. Once they become stable in housing, it's still tough.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, you know, they've just lost their support system. We know that. That's one of the factors in homelessness for families, is maybe they've been on sofas of friends and family until those relationships just unraveled. And so we have to help that family rebuild those support systems in the community. So like Big Brothers Big Sisters, it's a year commitment, and we work with a lot of churches and businesses who will take on a family that we have served for another year with our support and our training and with staff to make sure that family has someone they can turn to. So they might lose their job, maybe 6 months. You know, don't go into homelessness again. Let's talk it out. Let's find a solution. Let's talk to the landlords. Let's see if we can get you on your feet before you spiral back into homelessness. So we're very excited about sort of the aftercare program that we have started.
It sounds wonderful.
It is wonderful. I mean, we're doing so many wonderful evidence-based practices and wonderful compassionate care for the families we serve.
That is wonderful. And I know we were talking earlier too about once you got them in the shelter, you're constantly working to get them out of that shelter.
Yes.
You know, whether that be extended housing or your rapid rehousing program. How does that progress work once someone is in your shelter? How do you get them to the place where they're in a permanent home?
You know, it's different for every family. We have families that we can get into permanent housing really quickly.
Okay.
And in fact, we'd like to do that. And that is sort of a model that we're looking at nationally, and the Homeless Commission is looking at. Some people call it Housing First. Doesn't mean you don't need shelter or services. It just means we want the goal of getting people stable in housing as quickly as practical. And once we can get a family stable, then we can still wrap around services and still have benefit and access to everything that we offer in the shelter. But once a family, you kind of need to be in a home to really function as a family. So we're really emphasizing that. So some families, it's very easy if they have a job that can sustain paying rent, then we can get them in a supportive housing or permanent housing pretty quickly, whether it's our transitional or whether it is rapid rehousing, or some families are okay after a very short period of time. And then we have some families that sometimes we